everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive into something truly unique. Today, we're cracking open Percival Everett's James.
Really fascinating stuff.
Now, we've only got a glimpse of the novel, a handful of pages, but let me tell you, with Everett, that's all you need to get the gears turning.
So, absolutely.
He's got this incredible knack for blending historical fiction with satire, social commentary, you name it, he just pulls you right in.
Right from the first page.
And speaking of pulling you in, one of the first things you notice is this fragmented style, this jumping between James's first-person account and, well, what seem to be excerpts from his notebook.
Yeah.
And the notebooks are just wild minstrel songs next to philosophy, then historical accounts, like you're right there in his head. What do you make of this approach from a literary perspective?
You know, it's not just a stylistic choice. It actually kind of forces you, as the reader, to experience the world through James's eyes. Think about it, like trying to piece together your identity when all around you, society's telling you who you are, what you can be. So that fragmentation, it mirrors the fractured experience of Black lives, especially back then.
You're piecing together this puzzle, but the pieces, they don't always fit neatly, do they?
Exactly.
And speaking of puzzle pieces, we've got to talk about those minstrel songs. They're so, I don't know, intertwined with the history of blackface minstrelsy in America, right? It's almost jarring to see them in James's notebook right there next to his own thoughts.
Oh, absolutely. Everett, he really makes you confront that history head on. Those racist caricatures that are unfortunately part of American culture. But he's also doing something really interesting with how James relates to those songs, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember that passage where James talks about the weight of books, how he loves to just hold them?
Yes, it seems like a small detail, but...
Right, but it's not. I think Everett is drawing this parallel between those books and the minstrel songs. Both, in a way, are forms of cultural expression, but for James, they offer something more. A sense of solace, maybe escape, even resistance. He's finding ways to reclaim his own narrative in a world that's constantly trying to silence him.
It's like he's taking those tools of oppression, those minstrel songs, and turning them into something powerful, something his own.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's really just one example of how Everett uses satire, irony, throughout James, right? It's like he's holding up this funhouse mirror to the antebellum South.
Yeah.
You know, distorting reality just enough to make you question everything.
And he doesn't shy away from those big, complex ideas either.
No, he doesn't.
The way he brings in philosophy, weaves it into the story, it's masterful.
Oh, and you're going to love that there's this scene, totally out of left field, where James meets, get this, Voltaire and John Locke.
Oh,
I know, they're having these witty, philosophical debates about race, freedom, you know, those Enlightenment ideals.
It's like a history lesson done rogue.
Totally.
But it's brilliant because by putting James face-to-face with these intellectual giants, you know, Everett exposes the hypocrisy at the heart of it all.
Right.
These were the champions of liberty, equality, on paper at least.
Right.
Yet they completely ignored, turned a blind eye to the horrors of slavery happening right under their noses.
It really makes you think about those Enlightenment ideals, you know? Like, they sound great in theory, but what do they actually mean in a world where basic human rights are denied to so many?
Exactly. And Everett, he doesn't hit you over the head with it.
No.
He lets the absurdity of it all, the humor, highlight those contradictions.
Yeah.
It makes you think, makes you uncomfortable, and that's the point.
And just when you think things can't get any more, I don't know, surreal,
Yeah.
Everett throws another curveball.
Right.
We have to talk about Sammy. The young woman who escapes with James. It's a gut punch, a reminder of the very real dangers that enslaved people faced every single day.
It's a turning point in the story, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Sammy's death, it forces James and the reader
Yeah.
to confront the reality of freedom, you know? It's not just this abstract idea.
Right.
It's a matter of life and death.
And the river is almost like another character in the story, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's so powerful,
Yeah.
representing both danger and freedom.
Yeah, that push and pull,
Yeah.
the risk of escape versus the threat of being swept away.
It's interesting, though, even with all that danger, the river's also the only path to freedom.
Right.
It makes you wonder if Everett is saying that true freedom, it requires risk. That you have to be willing to face those dangerous currents to reach the other side.
It's a powerful image, and it speaks to the complexity of James's journey.
Yeah.
He's navigating a world where freedom, captivity, that line is constantly shifting.
Right.
every step forward could mean being pulled back under.
Like that saying, a river cuts through rock, not because of its power, but its persistence.
Right.
You think that that applies to Jones's story at all?
I think that's a great comparison, actually.
Yeah.
Even with, unimaginable loss, hardship, James he never gives up.
He never does.
He's looking for his family, yeah, but it's also more than that, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
He's searching for something beyond the limits of his world,
Mm-hmm.
striving for true freedom for himself, for his people.
And he's not just reacting to the world around him either. He's actively shaping it, challenging those in power. That scene with Judge Thatcher, talk about a power move.
Oh, yeah, you're right to point that out.
Wow.
It's a moment of pure defiance,
Yeah.
a complete reversal of how they should be, how they usually are, between a black man and a white authority figure back then.
Gives me chills just thinking about it. But even with those moments of triumph, those little glimmers of hope, the novel, it doesn't, it doesn't wrap everything up neatly, does it?
No, it doesn't.
It ends with James still searching, still struggling.
Right.
What do you make of that ending?
That's one of the things I really appreciate about Everett's writing. He doesn't shy away from ambiguity.
No.
He leaves you with these questions, a sense of unease, and that ending with James still on his journey. It's like this powerful reminder that the fight for freedom, for equality, it never really ends.
It's ongoing.
Yeah.
It makes you think about the world today, all
Yeah.
the struggles that are still happening.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes James so powerful, so timely. It speaks to these complexities of race, identity, just being human in a way that feels, I don't know, timeless and incredibly relevant all at once.
It's one of those books that stays with you long after you finish it.
Definitely.
So to anyone listening, if you haven't already, I highly recommend diving into James.
Yeah, you should.
You might find yourself facing some uncomfortable truths, but you'll also discover, the power of resilience, the beauty of Everett's language, the enduring strength of the human spirit.
And remember, this is just, scratching the surface.
It's Everett's work. It's got layers. So go back, explore those depths. You might be surprised by what you find.
I love that.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.